Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Offsides. And I got my boy Pete back. Pete is back, y'all. And then June's sitting here talking about, yo, I miss Pete. We got to have Pete. And then June's not here. But anyway, Pete, how you doing, bro?
Good, man. Good.
That's good. Good to have you back. I like this shirt, too. I like this shirt. Um,
Okay.
yo, man, we it's close, bro. Week 12 now.
Yeah, it's almost
Almost
done.
fantasy
It
football championship rounds, you know what I'm saying? Like it's getting close to the end.
was three
Getting
more
close.
weeks. 3 more weeks for the playoffs in
Yeah.
fantasy. And then.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. So week 11 in the books. Week 12 is upon us. What's your disappointment for week 11? And what's your surprise, I guess, in week 11? Go ahead.
Well, my disappointment would be um the 49ers. They fucked up my parlay. Um, had a couple money lines going and they fucked that up by choking again in the fourth quarter. So I would say the disappointment is that. Other than that, I think everything else pretty much was, you know, um, I guess everything that we kind of expected. The Jets choked.
Yeah.
Uh, Atlanta didn't show up in Denver, which I kind of knew was going to happen. And Detroit destroyed a team that's shit at home.
Hmm.
That's been happening all year. So, and yeah, that's basically it for me as far as, disappointments was, San Francisco, like I said, for personal reasons.
For me, it was the Ravens, man.
I'm not disappointed in that in the sense where they always play them tough. So
I
not really
guess
surprised at that. Not, I wasn't, and then they were in Pittsburgh, so I wasn't really surprised at that, to be quite honest with you. Um, Lamar, he's great, and Henry is great, but Pittsburgh, I wasn't really surprised at that, to be
I
quite
was more
honest.
disappointed in his so here's the deal, right? We say Mahomes sits atop. He's the guy, right? He's got the rings. He got 3 rings. They just took their first L this weekend. The Chiefs are the team to beat in a sense. And you look at the AFC, and when we look at the AFC, who do we talk about, really? You got Lamar with the Ravens. You got Josh Allen with the Bills. We thought Burrow this year was going to do something. And I mean, Burrow's numbers are ridiculous, and they're not even 500.
It's a team, man.
Yeah, as a team. You got Bo Nix in Denver looks great, but they're young. You got the Chargers looking okay. But the two main guys you talk about is Lamar and Josh Allen, who've been sitting there missing that key component or whatever to get over the hump. My issue with the Ravens is you have to show up when it's time to show up. And I felt like what we saw on Sunday in Lamar is what we've seen in Lamar in the playoffs, is what we see in him in games that matter or games that's supposed to be. Sometimes he has a way of regressing, not making the right call. Now, you're right. They play him tough. It's a divisional round. They're in Pittsburgh, but your defense held up, kept them out the end zone. All you had to do was put up touchdowns, and you couldn't do it. But this is a team that we say, hey, can probably go all the way. But right now, you came and beat the Steelers, who don't get me wrong, they're coached well. They have a veteran quarterback. Um, Russell's playing okay. The defense is playing good, but this was your time to shine. I was kind of disappointed in the lack of not showing up, if that makes sense for the game.
See, but I look more at them not showing up at home week two against the Raiders, which they lost.
Yeah.
That to me is not showing up. Playing the Steelers, a rival in Pittsburgh, to me is not showing up. I think they just got beat. I don't think Pittsburgh is getting enough credit for what they've been doing. They're in first place. They're in first place by not 2 games over Baltimore, 3 games
Mm-hmm.
because they got the tiebreaker so far. So I think it's time I mean, we got to start giving them respect. Everybody's like, oh yeah, the Steelers, they're kind of waiting for them to come down, but why? They 8-2.
So
8-2 is nothing to sneeze at, bro. Like that shit
no,
is
no,
legit.
it's not. Especially when we didn't see him being that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Um, I'm just not sold. So with the Steelers side of the house, I wanted to see them. If you were going to win, I wanted you to win in a dominating fashion, not 52-6 like the Lions and Jags. Maybe a third, like the way Josh Allen beat the Chiefs. I think I would be a buyer of stake in the Steelers at that point because of what I saw. In comparison to Allen and the Bills versus the Chiefs, it looked like the Bills weren't going to let up. Allen made the decision to say, you know what, I'm gonna run this in for 26 yards, go with the go ahead touchdown, and he didn't have as many weapons as his team. You know, he doesn't have the receiving core. He doesn't have, he was missing Coleman. He was missing Kincaid. Um, their defense is coming around. So when I saw how they played, that's how I want Lamar Jackson to play against the Steelers. And when seeing the Steelers win, to me, it's like you just got by. Can you hold that up going into the later rounds? Because that's the same thing with the Chiefs. They were winning by just getting by. And they finally came across a person that, they didn't block a field goal. It wasn't a pass interference call. It wasn't the toe tap in the end zone. It was like, yo, they just went in there and took over the game, and that was it. Mahomes threw 3 picks that game. So I think with Pittsburgh, I don't see, I want to see a dominating game from them against a team like that before I sit there and say, yeah, I buy it. You know what I'm saying?
But that to me, think about it. Okay, when you say dominant, you're thinking of 52-6, but 18-16, holding the Ravens to 16 points, that's not dominant.
Well, that's the defense side of the house. But
Well,
I
but
also,
they're part of
yeah,
the
yeah.
team though.
But I also feel like Lamar missed some shots. He overthrew some shots, some passes. I don't feel the Ravens played the way the Ravens could play. And you can say the defense was stopping them on that. I also feel like you said, they play him hard. I think there's an interview because Bree mentions all the time because she's a Steeler fan, where Lamar says he doesn't like playing there. He doesn't want to get hit by TJ. I think they're in his head. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah,
So
absolutely.
they're living there rent free. So if you want to become a Super Bowl champ, in my opinion, from what we've seen from quarterbacks that have won it, Mahomes, Eli, Brady, Peyton, Breeze, Rogers, who else? Flacco, all these guys, they're not going into the game. They're showing up when it matters. And like you said, they're in first place with 3 games, bro. 3 games. People, you got to understand, you're going on the road if you make the wild card. You're going on the road.
Yeah, they don't have. I mean, they may have one, maybe one home game, but
Yeah.
right now they're not even leading the division, so who knows?
Yeah, no, because they say the Steelers close out on top as number one. They get a division round bye. They get the divisional. So they
Yeah,
have a wild card. They get the divisional. And no matter what, everybody's coming to Pittsburgh unless they're playing a seeded team higher. So right now, let's say if it's the Chiefs number 1 seed, Bills, let's say they're second, then you got Pittsburgh, Texans should buy out the division, and then you got what, 2 or 3 more teams under, and right now you got the Chargers and the Broncos. I mean, look, bro, I don't think they can go if they the way they played on Sunday. If we're gonna go on that, they're not beating Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
I don't know, they may have. Well, let's see what happens when they play Buffalo in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. That's another one. See,
Uh,
yeah, I
again,
don't know.
I don't. I'm not. Again, I give more credit than to Pittsburgh than looking at Baltimore that they didn't show up for that game. Like I said, and it's still to this day it's week 12, and I was in DC when this happened. I was just like, yo, the Ravens lost to the Raiders. Like, what happened in that game? And that one still to me is the head scratcher. But this one to me kind of expected it. Their games are always like this, 24-20, shit like that. So that didn't surprise me.
So, do now before we go to Josh Allen and the Bills, because that's another game with Josh Allen in the regular season has a winning record against Mahomes. Well, the Chiefs, right? Because they don't play each other on defense. So against the Chiefs, he's 3-1 in the regular season. But in the playoffs, I don't think he's beat Mahomes in the playoffs.
No.
No, because they're three up until Sunday was 3-3. and that's the
Yeah,
two losses in the postseason. So again, Buffalo. What's your take on that game?
this was this is Josh Allen getting to the head of the line regarding MVP. This was the game that he had to do it. Especially in the same weekend, Lamar Jackson doesn't show up. And Goff had a five in total game last week, even though they won, but that doesn't look good on on Goff's record. Even though Goff, of course, made up for it last week, this Sunday that just passed. I don't think Mahomes is in the MVP conversation. He's not playing well, even though they're winning. But Henry and Barkley, I think Henry and Lamar are going to take away votes from each other, and Jalen Hurts and Barkley are going to take away votes from each other. So I think Josh Allen is like the front runner right now because of the game, the way he played in the game, and against who it was.
Yeah, I think so going back to the game, if he was if Lamar was ahead, I feel Josh took the lead.
Definitely.
First, they were saying, how can you be MVP with four losses on your record? You know what I'm saying? That's not a thing. They said it's not. You can't get voted. If that's the case, I would nominate Burrow for MVP because that boy, without him, where's that team at right now? You know what I'm saying? They put up points. Um, I think Josh on Sunday's performance, I think he took the lead by more than just a few votes. You know what I'm saying?
It's his to lose right now.
Yeah, exactly. It is his to lose, and I think that the way they played, I, you know, I wasn't so. I didn't think the Chiefs would go undefeated. The Chiefs should have lost a few games. Whether you want to say the refs helped them with the calls or things just went in their favor, things went in their favor and they came out with the win. But you can only do that for so long before it catches up to you. You know what I'm saying? You can only get by with certain things until it catches up to you. And it finally caught up to them. Now, the Chiefs are clearly in first place, but the Buffalo Bills are 9-2.
Yep.
9-2.
They're on a
And
bye right now, and then
Mhm.
they're on a bye, and the Steelers play the Browns. So the way if it goes the way we kind of expect it, they'll be tied with them with at 9-2.
Mhm.
And Chiefs play Carolina, so they should win. Then they'll be
Yeah.
10-1. So you got the first seed, second seed, and the third seed right there.
Yep. But then they Steelers play Chiefs on Christmas Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if they play on Christmas Day, see, there's a lot there because you're right. People are not talking about the Steelers like that, and I just think it's not having faith in the offense. You know what I'm saying? The Steelers' defense has never been a question. It's more of the offense, and they're not giving the game away if that makes sense. But then again, they're not wowing me either. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the lines are rolling people. You know what I'm saying? The lines are they doing their thing. There's no they're they're like you said, they if they lose a game, if they lose this, it's on them. You know what I'm saying? It's because of them. But in the NFC, who's really gonna stop them? I mean, maybe the Eagles, but you know, I think matchups matter. So, and the fact that Goff can throw 5 picks in one game and still win it tells you that as a quarterback, he's resilient. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. The 25th, right? So yeah, Chiefs at Steelers. That's at 1 o'clock on Christmas Day. And then you got Ravens at Texans at 4:30. So that's another big game there too. Um, but yeah, right now that Chiefs are 9-1. If we go to the schedule, what week we on? 12, right? So Steelers at Browns. We're expecting Steelers to win, but that's a divisional game too. So we don't know. But let's say they win, they're 8-2, and the Chiefs are playing Panthers, so that should be 10-1, right? Like you said. Week 13, Raiders at Chiefs. We'll say Chiefs take that one. We'll see. Raiders took one last year, so you never know. Then you got Steelers at Bengals.
I put it to you this way. I'm convinced. I don't want to jinx it, but like I'm so convinced with Steelers D that I started them in fantasy against the Ravens last week.
Really?
Yeah. So again, it's just like, yo, I mean, at some point, 8-2 is 10 games, man. They only
Yeah.
lost two of them. That tells you something. And I'm not saying they're the best. I'm not saying they're dominant or everything, anything like that, but 8 wins is 8 wins, man. And with the quarterback shit that they going through and they losing, they only got like one wide receiver. They've been trying to trade for receiver. They finally get Mike Williams. So they've been going through a lot of shit and still winning. So
Yeah.
that means that, says something for me anyway.
No, no, you gotta respect it. You gotta acknowledge it because it's happening. But like again, to me, I need to see. I'm not something stopped me from going all in, and it's in. I think what it is that offense. If the defense is not a concern, I think the offense. Like if you go up against it, like can you put up 40 points in a game if you had to? You know what I'm saying? If you get a Joe Burrow that's throwing for 5 touchdowns, can you match that?
Well, they haven't played them yet.
No, no, I'm just saying, like
No, no, no.
hypothetically.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that I'm looking at it. They haven't played them yet.
No,
So we'll see.
the
Because,
Steelers. Go ahead.
it may come to that. It may come to that playing an offense like that because, I mean, I guess they really haven't played an offense like that yet because, they lost to Indianapolis and they lost to Dallas. Like, I don't even know that Indianapolis game. I think that was Justin Fields where he had a lot of turnovers. But they put up 37 on the Jets.
Yeah, they put up they wins 18-10, Broncos 13-6, West week 2, Chargers 20-10. They lost by 3 to the Colts, lost to the Cowboys by 3. Those are one possession games. That could have went anywhere. Who knows?
Yeah.
Beat the Raiders 32 to 13, Jets 37 to 15, Giants 26 to 18, Commanders 28-27. In which that came down to Mike Williams and connection with
Yep.
Russell in the end zone, and then Ravens 18-16, which came down to a 2 point conversion that I don't know what they were thinking about when they tossed it, but it is what it is. Um, I didn't like the play calling either. I don't. I think that you're going for it. Why don't you bring Henry in?
Yeah, everybody. I think everybody said that. But
And even if you play action it, if you bring Henry in, I got to protect the box. But now by doing that, I'm probably going man coverage across with my tight end and my wide receiver and somebody else. So now I can throw the ball or Lamar can scramble and make something happen. But if you don't bring Henry in, then I know you're not running the ball.
why? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's I guess that was the frustrating part for me. It was like, yo, yeah, your play calling sucked. Like, yo, you got Henry there for a reason. Give him the ball. Let him keep running that ball. Even if they stop him, keep running it, keep running it, keep running it. They're gonna get tired. Them DBs, the linemen are gonna get tired from trying to stop him, and then that's the game changes. But I don't know. I mean, and that's again, it's a divisional game, so I don't even know if Burrow could put up 5 touchdowns against them. You know what I'm saying? Their defense is good. Their offensive line is kind of whack on the Bengals, and but here lately, I did the math, yo. The last 6 games, Burrow has 2,047 yards with 20 touchdowns. He's sitting at 3,000 yards right now in the season.
No, no, no. This is no Joe Burrow's legit. Like it sucks that he's on a bad team because
Yeah.
he'll be MVP conversation, but he's not gonna be in it because if Lamar got four and I felt like he kind of like took himself out the race with this game with this week. Joe Burrow is losing these close games, and it's not him, but it sucks that he's not on the winning team because they're not gonna. He
Yeah,
may
no.
get some votes, but it's not gonna. It shouldn't happen. Not over Josh Allen, who's leading a winning team, and that's what it
Yeah.
is.
And sometimes doing it by himself, like
Yeah.
showing that he is the most valuable player. So I got a question for you, man, because I don't think that this should be exclusive to quarterbacks. Do you feel that the MVP award, because here lately it's always quarterbacks, do you feel that one, it be two separate awards, or how do you feel? Because you got Saquon out there. Saquon's doing great. They say he's on pace to break the 2,000 yards rushing record. I mean, or the Eagles rushing record that Shady McCoy I think holds right now. And then you got Henry. You got Jamar Chase, man, who that dude's leading the league in yards right now, in receiving yards.
I think MVP it should stay the same. Um, I don't think it should be two awards, but it's a little weird because I think Jerry Rice won MVP one year. I think I know Adrian Peterson won it,
I don't
and
think a wide receiver has won MVP yet.
it could have been what's his name who won it. Daniel Tomlinson won it.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean it's with Barkley and Derrick Henry. If they had quarterbacks who weren't good, I think it would give them a better shot. But the fact that I think, like I said earlier, I think they get they steal votes from each other
Mhm.
because some people are gonna vote for probably Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson instead of voting for the running back. So when I say that's what I mean by that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
they may get votes taken away from them.
I-
So Jamar Chase is another one. I mean, yeah, I look, I was mistaken. I did think that Jerry Rice won it, but he did not.
mm.
Um, but these guys, I think, kind of take away from each other. Jamar Chase, if Jamar Chase was in the race, then Burrow would be in the race. When Adrian Peterson won it, like he came off an injury and I forgot who his quarterback was, but his quarterback wasn't anything great. Marshall Faulk won it. And that's when I think that was Kurt Warner's second year or something like that. So it's what it is, man. But oh, Jerry Rice, they do have Jerry Rice here as an MVP.
But Jerry Rice won MVP,
No, I
NFL
thought
MVP.
no, hold on.
I thought they haven't had an NFL MVP, a wide receiver.
No, that's sporting news.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm listen. I don't think it should be two awards. I don't mind the running. I don't think there's anything wrong with a running back getting it if they put up that type of season.
Yeah.
But like say with Saquon and Derrick Henry, they're playing with who are quarterbacks that are actually just as good as they are. So I think that kind of takes away from their votes. I'd be shocked if any one of those guys won it. But if anybody out of the four, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Hurts, or Saquon will get it from me. If it's one of those four, but I think Josh Allen kind of ran away with it this week. But we'll see what happens. Let's see what Saquon does the rest of the year because maybe he can take it. But right now it's Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen's performance got everybody talking, and everybody. Some people are trying to downplay it, or it's the regular season. Um, they're gonna see each other in the playoffs, like Shady McCoy said, and we know that when it comes to the playoffs, Mahomes is gonna win. I think sometimes one of the things that's hardest, I guess, about winning back-to-back championships is complacency sets in. And right now, that defense was their strong part, right? And that defense, I don't think showed up against the Bills in a sense because there was, Spagnola's pretty good for shutting stuff down. And they don't what's their real wide receiver? And Amari Cooper had two good catches in that game, I think. Maybe one or two more, but it wasn't like he was killing it. Like, it's not like you remember him, like you remember Jamar Chase putting up 200 and something yards and three tutties against the Ravens, you know what I'm saying? Or how they just killed a deficit of 20 something points in the second half against the Chargers. Um, but I feel like some wins can give you confidence. And I'll go back to a loss, but gave confidence when the Giants lost to the Patriots in '07, the last game of the season. Strahan said he's like, "Yo, we can beat them. We can beat them." You know what I'm saying? We can beat them. And when he said that, and they took that momentum going into the postseason and get to the Super Bowl, they were like, "Yo, we're gonna keep them to 15, 14 points." And Brady says, like, nah, nobody, all season, nobody, and I even said it, ain't nobody stop us for 14 points. And that's what that defense did because they saw something that they can capitalize on. Well, the Bills won. But what I saw from the Bills that I think a lot of teams can now try to, is they didn't let off. They capitalized when they had to, and they put up points. And when the Chiefs tried to mount a comeback and they scored that touchdown, it didn't stop them. It didn't derail them. It didn't get them off. They just went. They just kept playing. I think that in some of these wins that the Chief had this year, that's exactly what happens when Mahomes gets hot. It's like teams get not shook, but they start panicking. The play calling changes. It starts going in the favor of the defense, and the defensive coordinator starts calling plays that ain't working. And maybe this was their one game to lose this season. Who knows? But I think that this can have big implications later on in the playoffs. Bills confidence wise, at least. You know, was the last time Bills was AFC Championship? They went down to the wire. It came down 13 seconds. Mahomes going
Crazy. I
going to
still can't believe
overtime.
that game. Still
Yeah.
can't believe that
So
game.
I mean, I don't know. I think that they I think he proved to be the number one guy for it now, and probably took away from it. I don't think Mahomes' numbers are good. If he wins MVP, is
Not at all. No, no way he went. I will stop watching football if Mahomes wins MVP. There's no
hey,
fucking way.
you know what? I've seen crazier shit. This is your team. Your team bench Daniel Jones. We know why. Not to pay him if he gets injured. But instead of going to Drew Lock, they go to DeVito. What's your take on it?
It's a little bit of both. It's for business reasons and because he hasn't been playing well. Let's look. There's you see guys that are open on the tape from the Panthers game, and it's I don't know if he's shell shocked, he doesn't want to pull the trigger on some throws. I don't know. But from what the vibe I'm getting is there DeVito was like a restricted free agent after this year.
Mm.
Drew Lock is on a 1 year deal. So I guess they're trying to see, do we at least have a backup with DeVito? Drew Lock, there probably was a stupid signing to begin with because if that was the case, they should have just kept DeVito as the backup and said, you know what, fuck it.
Hmm.
Drew Lock is nothing special. Drew Lock isn't Josh Allen. I don't know why you made the big deal about signing him if you still kept DeVito. That could have been because Daniel Jones gets hurt, but they from the vibe I'm getting is that DeVito is more like, but let's really see what we got with him.
Hmm.
Drew Lock is Drew Lock.
I think so let me ask you another question. You feel like your team has mismanaged is being mismanaged, like, between the GM. How much of this do you put on Dable?
I like Dable as a coach. I don't understand why he's on the hot seat. I know it's a bad record. They got a bad record. I don't understand. I like him. I think it's think about what the Giants have had. They've had Joe Judge, who had no business being a coach. They had Pat Shermer, who got the most out of Daniel Jones, but they got rid of him because they had a losing record. I like Dable.
McAdoo?
Was that
Yeah, McAdoo.
McAdoo was before
Yeah,
Daniel
yeah,
Jones.
yeah. It was before that.
So McAdoo got him to the playoffs. He had
He did.
Odell. Yeah, he had but I don't I don't think it's Dable. I don't think Dable's a problem. I mean, I don't know if I said it on here. I started to believe maybe the owner made them sign Daniel Jones after the playoff win. The good year in 2022, they made him sign him but they probably said, "Hey, listen, we'll sign him, but after 2 years, we get to pick our guy." This draft class has been one of the highest rated draft classes um, from this past year.
Yeah.
So it's the third year. It's tough. It's a rebuild. They kind of have to clean up the mess that Gettleman made, and he did a shit job. Like he made some good picks, and a lot of GMs make good picks, but he mismanaged the salary cap. He signed Odell, then traded him away. Then he signed Golden Tate and signed Soldier from Nate Soldier from
Yeah.
from Patriots. And then signed Galladay. Like those are three of like the worst free agent signings that just didn't pan out. Then he reached for Daniel Jones at the sixth pick overall. Um, I think a lot of this they're getting a lot of heat because they let Saquon go. Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, not just because I'm a Giants fan, but The year before, a lot of these running backs weren't getting paid. Josh Jacobs, and Saquon, they got franchised. The year after, they get contracts, but had the Giants signed Saquon, it would have been, oh look, the Giants are stupid. They're paying a running back when they need other shit.
I don't
But
think
but
so.
but, they, but they, I'm sorry, Fred, but when they don't, they're getting burned because they see him killing it with the
Yeah, yeah,
Eagles. The
yeah.
Eagles are a way better team than the Giants. He's not going to be doing this on what he's doing with the Eagles. He was going to be doing with the Giants.
And that's anybody that knows football knows that. I don't think the GM was wrong for what he said. I think the GM knew, listen, we don't have what he needs. We would like to keep him, but it comes a time where you got to be selfish and not selfish, right? He's been injured. He finally comes back. He gives you guys a good year there. It starts going. Um, he wouldn't do on the Giants what he's doing on the Eagles. Got two wide receiver ones in the 1 and 2 position.
Absolutely,
They have a good offensive line, even though they took a hit with
Kelsey.
Kelsey leaving. They still got Lane Johnson. They still got pieces there. They have Goddard as a tight end. They have a good quarterback. I'll say I won't say great, but good. Maybe great. Yeah, depending how you wanna measure him. Pause. But because that was crazy. uh, he he's a good quarterback. He's winning you games. Um, when I as a defense, I have to worry about that. If I'm a DC going into a game, let's say me and you are DCs on a team and we're running a defense, I'm gonna be like, yo, Pete, what we gonna do? Because you got to worry about Hurts. You got to worry about Smith and AJ Brown. You got to worry about Goddard. Oh, and now throw on Saquon in there, who can catch the ball as good as run the ball out the backfield. And I have to worry about the quarterback scrambling out too when he has to. So how do you prep on the Giants? All the focus probably would have been him and maybe neighbors. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't go with that. I think that's bullshit, bro. When people do that.
I'll say this one last thing about um Saquon. They offered him the same deal he took from the Eagles. They offered that to him in 2022. Now you got Kamara, you got McCaffrey making 16 million. He was looking to get something like that. But at the time, they didn't want to give him that. So they franchised him. Now, and one more thing is that, you got um what's his name? Micah Parsons. Oh, they didn't appreciate him, they disrespected him. If they would have disrespected him, they would have franchised him again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's just stupid to say. I know that's your Penn State boy and shit, but like, they didn't disrespect him. I think they did the right thing by letting him go pick a team. Look, he could have went to let's say he went to the Texans or he went to the Ravens instead of Henry. Let's say and then he goes to the Eagles. So I think they did right by him by saying, yo, go test the market. And if you want to come back, you let us know and we'll see what we can work out. Got the offer from Philly. He didn't want to come back. So hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. It was the difference wasn't a lot. He I think he was done already. Um, you gotta players gotta make a decision when it comes to it. We're not winning Super Bowls, and the chance of us winning is not, you know, is not there. I don't blame him from going to the Eagles. I don't think Dable's job should be in the hot seat. Um, I don't think the GM watching Hard Knocks with him. Remember, we watched it because you was watching. I watched it. Thanks to Pete convinced me to do something I don't ever do. Um, it looked like they had good communication, and I believe you when you say it was possible that the owner forced a hand for them to sign Daniel Jones on an extension because it probably reminded him of Eli. It probably reminded
Definitely.
him of what he was comfortable with, the guy that brought him 2 rings. The difference is he's not Eli. I've always liked Eli more than Peyton. I felt Eli has a trait inside of him that is the I don't give a fuck trait. Nothing bothers me. I can throw 5 picks, but I'm gonna throw 3 touchdowns and win the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's not Eli to me was special in his own way, and I don't mean that in a special needs way, but special in his own way. You might not get that again. You're the matchup between Coughlin as a coach and him as a quarterback, you might not get that again. So you got to move on from that. But I don't think that Dable's the problem. I don't think so. I mean, there's been games your team looks good out there, and you if you didn't know nobody, that you wouldn't think they had a losing record. But it's a team game. We see it with the Bengals. It don't matter how many points Joe Burrow puts up or how many comebacks he puts on. If that defense can't stop somebody, if that special teams can't kick 2 field goals, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a kicker missing 2 field goals, and that's the difference in the game.
Here's a funny stat. Now you bring up Joe Burrow. Funny stat. He's thrown 9 touchdowns against the Ravens and lost to them twice.
Mm-hmm.
Not one score. One Pittsburgh didn't score not one touchdown on
Beat
Sunday
him.
and beat them.
Yep. Yeah. That just tells you, bro. So
Team game, yeah.
moving on to another dysfunctional organization. The Jets fired the GM today, man. What's your take on that?
The
They got rid of Joe Douglas.
yeah, the Jets is just that shows the owner getting involved and not letting the people that he hired do their job. Aaron Rodgers, did they really want to go to an older quarterback who had right off of his worst year probably,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets hurt, and then they got gassed. Oh, we won 7 games against with Zach Wilson. What are we gonna do with when Aaron Rodgers gets healthy? And he's 2 years older after his last year in Green Bay, which he didn't have a great year. So they were expecting too much. And look, him not showing up for OTAs, it showed. And it shows, and his age is showing. His
Yeah.
age is showing. He does not look, he looks slow, trying to get around, moving around the pocket. He looks slow. And then they went and they kind of like, sold their soul for Aaron Rodgers and all the guys he brought over. And then now they went to get Devontae Adams. They fired the coach and the GM, and they fired the coach and they said for a spark. They won 1 game since they fired him. Like that shit is horrible.
But your
Horrible,
defense
yo.
went down, bro. The defense was
Absolutely.
worse.
Well, he used to coach the defense.
Yeah. Salah was not the problem.
No.
Not the problem. And that's I think people need to get the fuck away from winning records and look at what a person has to deal with. Because you the same way we got to give credit to Tomlin, 17 seasons, going on 18 seasons now, no losing record. But how many AFC championships he has, how many Super Bowls he won, how many times he won. That was the last time he won in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So at one point with an organization that got 6 Lombardi trophies, do you say, yo, I'm glad winning, but I need more? I need more. I don't give a fuck about 9-7, 10 and whatever. I want to win. So where we at?
Well, it's easy to say it's like I said this before. It's only one trophy. There's only one trophy you could win, and you got a great run by the Chiefs the last couple of years. Um, so it's not easy. They say it's not easy winning games is not easy in NFL, and I'm sure championships is even harder. But I mean, it's better to be that because at least you're not as many moves away from contending or getting that
Mhm.
chip than you are if you're shit. Like the Giants, the Panthers, the Raiders, the Browns, they got a long way to go. But if you're the Steelers, look, nobody thought much of them this year.
No.
What happened? They're in first.
Yeah.
So again, you never know if you're in the middle of the pack. If you're like one player away, then you know what? You can have 10 games where you're 8-2, as opposed to, oh shit, there's 10 games and they're 2-8. So I get they're not winning, but at least they're in the mix and they're in
Yeah.
contention every year.
Your point is valid in the sense that as long as I'm keep getting my ticket punched to the dance, eventually I'm a get
You
selected.
never know what could happen. Look what happened with the Giants. Like you said, you always bring up the Giants and the Patriots.
Yeah, yeah.
Giants were the 6th seed, and they made it to the Super Bowl and won it. So
Yeah.
you
Just like the Steelers did with Big Ben, his first Super Bowl.
you get hot at the right time. You never know what could happen.
I think Salah's firing was more, I think I blame this all on Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna be honest. I blame it on Aaron Rodgers. And I also blame the owner. You allow this player to dictate what you're gonna do. Like you're not a boss. Like you're not a billionaire. Bro, he doesn't impact nothing. To me, yes, Aaron Rodgers had winning seasons. He went to the NFC Championship game a lot. But how many Super Bowls he went to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How many times my and I do have a personal, not a personal beef, but as a fan, I used to get so mad when they would compare him to Brady. And I'm like, bro, there's no competition. There is none. There's none. The one goes to the Super Bowl every other year. The other one wishes he could be there every other year. One gets his mail there. He has like a one bedroom apartment at the Super Bowl. The other one doesn't. Those things matter to me. You know what I'm saying? Because you, in order to be the best, you got to beat the best in a sense. And that's like for me with the LeBron and Jordan conversation. I'm a big Jordan fan. I don't think LeBron's ever going to be Jordan. People say, oh, well, he got more appearances. He got more this. He got more that. Well, they never played each other. So it's always going to be one of those things where it's my opinion versus your opinion. You know what I'm saying? LeBron has a longer longevity in the game. So obviously he should have more points, right? I just feel like they allowed this guy to dictate everything and he's washed. You know what I'm saying? He's done. He's I don't think any team should pick him up next year if he doesn't come back. I think he should retire. And Devontae Adams need to get the fuck out of the Jets because he's gonna spend more years there and not win anything. Not win anything. Um, yeah. The Jets is a big shit show. And the Cowboys, bro, they what do you do?
You can't do shit because Jerry Jones owns it and he runs it. So this is all his doing.
Yeah, I know. I know.
They could have had Derrick Henry, but for some reason he waited to the last minute to sign these two, and you don't have flexibility when you do that. So that's why they couldn't sign Henry, even though he wanted to go there. It doesn't make any sense how you don't try to make that happen when other teams are doing what they're doing with the salary cap. You don't make that happen for a player who wanted to come to your team. A player like Derrick Henry, I don't know, but that's listen, and no one will tell him anything, and of course he's going to be stubborn because that's his team. He felt like he built this team, and what kills me is they should trade Micah Parsons. If you pay attention, Jerry Jones is not going to trade Michael Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
That's a premium position, edge rusher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he's great. He's not TJ Watt, but he's no scrub either. And Jerry Jones not trading that dude though.
You know, ah man. Energy is big, right? Energy is big. And when you're not winning or you're struggling, it brings down your energy, right? It brings down your motivation. It brings down, and it takes a lot for a player to, or a person to still want to keep pushing forward when everything is stacked against them. I think Micah Parsons' decline on defense is because the team is not where it needs to be. And frustration sets in. Emotions play a part. Mentality plays a part when it comes to these players. We've seen it in baseball when slumps are not hitting or can't pitch right because mentally they're not there. We've seen it in basketball. Motherfuckers can't hit a three or a free throw to save their life, but they were just hitting them 2 weeks ago. Um, Hell, you even seen it in football. Quarterbacks go through shit. I think Brady's last year going through that divorce really had a toll on him. But, he's not going to say that because there's no excuses. But think about it. I just lost my wife. My kids ain't there. I'm alone. If she was cheating on him, that plays a part. Like that's all. And we know he's emotional. So then at the end of the day, that shit plays a role when you go out there in the field and you start playing. Um, so I think Micah's lack of, I don't know, performance, maybe if you want to call it that. I don't know his numbers this year, but it's because the team ain't doing good.
But
I mean,
look at everything that happened. Dan Quinn left.
yeah.
He also got hurt, missed a couple games,
Mhm.
and when your team is shit, or when you start to notice that you're not good, and this year may be nothing, people start to half-ass it.
Um, you said TJ Watt. Uh, TJ Watt is special, man. I give him shit because of Bree, but he's a special guy, man. I don't think he's LT. I don't think he's Lawrence Taylor, but he's damn near close to that because of how he disrupts the game, bro.
I think he's better than his brother.
No, yeah, hands down, better. JJ started getting riddled with
Injuries, yeah.
injuries, and that hurt him. His back. He was bigger too. I think TJ's more athletic, more versatile. Um, man, I'm gonna say this here. If the Steelers won it this year, I wouldn't be upset.
Not at all. I don't have a beef with the Steelers. I
Yeah,
don't, they're not in the division of the team that I root for, so I don't like hate them. But
I think it'd be dope, man. Russell's like it's like a vindication for Russell. You get that guy TJ to finally get a ring. I think on defense is different. On defense, it doesn't matter how many rings you have, as long as you have a ring, and then your numbers stack up. You could be the greatest in that position. Whereas in a quarterback, it comes down to the rings.
yeah,
It comes down.
quarterback is different, way different.
Yeah, it's different. Um, but yeah, man, maybe next week we'll talk about some of these teams that are not gonna make the cut. Like the 49ers, I don't think they're gonna make the cut, bro.
Mm-mm.
And
Nah,
Purdy's supposed to get paid. I don't think he's gonna get paid that 60
nah.
million.
Now, I mean, if he's looking for 60 million,
No, I wouldn't
I
give it to
don't. I'm not saying that Dak was worth it, but I think it depends on, I guess, leverage. Is he gonna have any leverage? No,
I
we can franchise you, bro. Maybe they're okay with franchising him. You know what I mean?
I think go back to the NFC Championship game, whether you win or lose, that's 60 mil. Make it to another Super Bowl back to back, 60 mil. Don't make the playoffs, bro, you dropping down. I'm dropping you down like 40, 30.
But I think what has to come into play though with him is look who you throwing to. It's not like look at Mahomes last not was it last year or the year before? The year before against the Eagles, he's throwing to Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
And then last year, Kadarius Toney was dropping more passes than he fucking caught.
Garbage, bro. Garbage.
Like he wasn't even active for fucking Super Bowl. So I get it. You got Kelsey, but Kelsey's half of the time he's on the field, he's blocking. He's not running routes every single time.
Kelsey's because they taken him out of they need him to block because the offensive line ain't the same.
But
So
that's what I'm saying though. It's
yeah,
not like Purdy's gonna Purdy if Purdy goes to the Super Bowl without Debo, Kittle, and fucking McCaffrey, then okay, all right, now I guess he deserves it. But he's got an all-star offense, man. Like think about it. Look at his offense. Very similar to freaking Philly. Very similar to Philly. Philly got an all-star offense as well. And look
yeah,
what
no, no, yeah.
so I think that plays a part as well. Like, yo, we can't keep all this, we can't have this sick offense around you if we give you 60 million. Look at Dak. All he has is freaking CeeDee Lamb. He
Yeah.
don't even got a running back. He don't even got a running back. So I don't know. We'll see, man. It depends. Let's see where he goes. If he goes the Brady route or if he's trying to get paid. So
Well, look, Mahomes went the Brady route and it's working out. The motherfuckers that are not getting greedy, guess what it's doing? It's working out. Um,
it's not working for Dak.
nah, but he got greedy. Got greedy. Look, one thing, and I'll say this before we go on to the week's games. When I was in the military, man, one of the things that made me successful, in my opinion, of what I knew was I knew my strengths and weaknesses. And I wasn't scared to ask for help. I wasn't scared to say, hey, I can't reach this person. Can you talk to them? You know what I'm saying? It didn't take away from me as a leader if I went, yo, Pete, man, I got this sailor that I can't connect with. Maybe you can connect with him, but we need to turn him around. And you do it. It's not going to take away from me. I don't have an ego when it comes to that. Dak and these quarterbacks that want all this money, stop being prideful and stop being selfish. Look at Mahomes. Mahomes is renegotiating that contract, extending the payments out so they can get cap space to bring people in.
Well, some of them value that generational money more than they value rings. They're going to try to get as much as they can. And listen, I don't know if you follow baseball the way it is. They're saying that Juan Soto, he's trying to get as much money as he can.
I heard. I don't follow baseball like that, but I heard. Uh I used to follow it before I joined the Navy. After I joined the Navy, I didn't follow no more, bro. Like if it fell, I couldn't keep up with it, like I used to in high school and stuff. But all right, well, let's look at it, man. So Thursday night game, we got Steelers at Browns. I'm going Steelers on this one. I think they're gonna ride the wave of beating the Ravens and that they're gonna keep stroking. This wasn't a game that I thought was gonna be a potential hard one for them going into the second half of the season. What's your take on it?
Same. Browns got Jameis, even though Jameis is he's played better than Deshaun Watson. Just he still always got the mistakes because he's not timid. He'll throw it. You know what I mean? Like he'll try to he'll take that chance throwing the ball down the field when it seems like Watson wasn't. So
Yeah.
Jameis, but there's a good and a bad with that. And the Steelers are playing well. They're feeling it. They just, like you said, they just came off a big game against a division rival, another division rival who are not on the same level as the Ravens. I think that's easy, Steelers.
Yeah, I think if it was different, I don't put trust in James like that either. But I really do feel like I said, man, they going into it riding that they're gonna ride that wave, bro. I would ride that wave. You know what I'm saying? I just beat Lamar Jackson. The defense held up. We made the right plays. We good. You know, we're gonna keep it pushing. 1 o'clock games, man. You got Patriots at Dolphins. I don't see us winning that. Vikings at Bears, Lions at Colts, Bucks at Giants, Cowboys at Commanders, Chiefs at Panthers. The 1 o'clock games don't impress me none.
No,
Titans at
no,
Texans. Now 4 o'clock games, not even that one. You maybe the best one is gonna be Cardinals at Seahawks because 49ers at Packers, Broncos at Raiders.
those are. I think those are no Broncos and Raiders. That's same as Steelers and Browns. Look at the
Yeah,
records. Look at the way the teams are playing. I think the Green Bay game, San Francisco is good because San Francisco may be playing for the season right now. If they lose, they're under 500.
yeah,
Arizona, Seattle, they're playing for the division. That's for the division right there.
yeah,
Seattle wins, it's tied.
yeah. You're right. So that might be good in the
Sunday night
sense
is
of
good. Sunday night is
position.
good.
Yeah. Sunday night game, Eagles at Rams. That might be good. Rams at
I
the
think that's
Browns.
good.
I
I
think that's
would. I think it's better being that it's in LA. If it was in
Mhm.
Philly, I think I would take Philly like in a blowout maybe. But I think it'll be hopefully it's good being that Sunday night and it's in LA.
So it's funny, man, that those Cardinals, Seahawks, Rams, both games matter. Even though the
That's
Rams are not playing division, it's still conference. They
absolutely
got to
yep.
win. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think Rams can. Man, listen. Once he got Puka Nakua back and Cooper Cup, that
Different
offense
team,
changed complete.
completely different team.
And I think they can beat the Ram. I think they can beat the Eagles on the strength of their offense being what it is. You know what I'm saying? And Stafford has the experience. Again, Stafford played a lot of games where he was the underdog and down. He comes back, he wins. You know, it is what it is. Um, Monday night, I think is going to be a good game. Ravens versus Chargers in LA.
Hardball,
Yeah.
hardball against hardball. Yeah,
Yep.
that's yeah. This Ravens need to rebound. If not, 7-5, and then losing another conference game.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. If
No.
they lose, I mean, not that the Chargers are bad. It's just that it's a conference game,
Yeah.
and then of course you just lost the game. But it's what you got to do, man. All the teams ain't just gonna lay down for you just because you got
No.
last year's MVP and you got Derrick Henry. They're not just gonna roll over.
No, I think I'm a probably go Ravens on that one because they need to bounce back. They need it more. But Chargers, look, man, that the NFC, the AFC West is looking good too because Chargers are 7-3. You got
Yep.
Broncos and you got the Chiefs. Like it could really be a AFC West playoff in a
I
sense.
I wouldn't be surprised though if Baltimore won because there's been games that I think a couple of years ago they went and they destroyed the Rams in LA. And I think and then last year or the year before they went to San Francisco. No, last year they went to San Francisco and whooped them. So I wouldn't be surprised. But the thing with Baltimore, it seems like if Derrick Henry's not getting 10-yard runs every time, they want to go away from the run. And it's like just stay with it, man. Like this dude's a Hall of Famer. Just
You know, before we log off this, I'm glad you brought that up. Sometimes you got to stick to it. I
yeah.
say this story. I seen Ricky Williams, I think, play the Giants. And he kept going, man, and they were stopping him. Your team was stopping him at the line with the Dolphins. But by the fourth quarter, man, they couldn't stop him no more. That's blunt force trauma coming at you every single time. You know, keep doing it. To me, it's like if I watch boxing. I know you don't watch it, but to me, it's like
I
boxing.
watched it. I watched it this weekend. I watched that bullshit
That's
this
the, we
weekend.
me and June might record a separate episode on offsides about it. If you want to join, you could. That whole thing was a setup. I think Mike, it was rigged. They robbed our girl Serrano.
Definitely.
They robbed her twice. Twice. I watched the first one and I watched the second one, and they robbed her. But it is what it is. They don't want to see a Puerto Rican shine, so I take it. Um, but you go to the body slows down. Everything, the body affects everything. Go to the body, they're not breathing the same. They're not moving around the same. They're bringing their hands down more, which is leaving the face exposed. You take the body out, the head's gonna follow. And sometimes you got people that don't they don't follow that in a sense. They just go against it. And I think the run game is like a body blow in boxing. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
hurts and it slows the game down. It slows your defense down because you got to think if you break out a 20, 30-yard run, now I got to protect the front. That means I'm going man to man in the back. So, um, it is what it is. Hold on, Pete. My wife called me, yo. I'm sorry. She don't got constant of time. But anyways, anyway, man, good week, good episode. Good to have you back, brother. You know what I'm saying? I've missed you. No pause, no homo. You know what I'm saying? No Diddy. Um, I'm glad you had a good weekend though.
Yeah.
Recharge the battery. Um, we need to do something, plan something. We all link up and get together. But yeah, good weekend, good episode. Anything you want to say before we close out?
Nah, man. Hopefully, let's see if the Ravens get it together, man. Think that's going to be one of the best games of the weekend. But come on, they got losses to the Raiders and to the Browns. That's not, it's I like the makeup of the Ravens, but that shit just it's fucking head scratcher.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, well, that's Offsides Podcast, man. Tune into next week. Peace.